Okay, welcome to Sub-Element T3, Radio Wave Propagation. If you've been following this course in sequence, then we've made it up to this section so far after T1 and T2, and there'll be three sections of this, T3A, T3B, and T3C, just like the previous ones. And as a quick reminder, these are the exact questions and answers that you will see on your test. There'll just be a pool of questions to pull from, but there'll be even the wrong answers will be exactly what you see here. My study method is to read the correct answers only and not do the wrong answers to keep from putting that extra information out there. Some of it, of course, being not right in any way, so why absorb that information? This is T3A, radio wave characteristics, how a radio signal travels, fading, multipath, polarization, wavelength versus absorption, and antenna orientation. There are 12 questions on the test from this section. Why do VHF signal strengths sometimes vary greatly when the antenna is moved only a few feet? And the answer is C. Multipath propagation cancels or reinforces signals. VHF signals can arrive at a receiver via multiple reflected paths. When these paths combine, they can either reinforce or strengthen, or they can cancel or weaken the signal. Moving the antenna even a few feet changes the path lengths enough to shift between constructive and destructive interference. What is the effect of vegetation on UHF and microwave signals? B. Absorption. Trees, leaves, and other vegetation absorb UHF microwave signals. The water content in vegetation is particularly effective at absorbing these higher frequency signals and reducing signal strength. What antenna polarization is normally used for long-distance CW and SSB contacts on the VHF and UHF bands? That's C, horizontal. Horizontal polarization is the standard for weak signal CW and single sideband work on VHF and UHF. This convention helps maximize signal strength between stations and reduces interference from vertically polarized FM signals. What happens when antennas at opposite ends of a VHF or UHF line of sight radio link are not using the same polarization? C. Received signal strength is reduced. When transmitting and receiving antennas have mismatched polarization, for example, one's vertical and one's horizontal, the received signal strength is significantly reduced, typically by 20 dB or more in a theoretical cross-polarization scenario. When using a directional antenna, how might your station be able to communicate with a distant repeater if buildings or obstructions are blocking the direct line of sight path? C. Try to find a path that reflects signals to the repeater. VHF and UHF signals can reflect off buildings, mountains, and other large objects. By rotating your directional antenna, you may find a reflected path that bounces your signal around the obstruction and reaches the repeater. What is the meaning of the term picket fencing? B. Rapid flutter on mobile signals due to multipath propagation. Picket fencing describes the rapid fluttering or choppy quality of a mobile signal caused by multipath propagation. As the vehicle moves, the signal alternatively reinforces and cancels, creating a sound similar to running past a picket fence. What weather condition might decrease range at microwave frequencies? C. Precipitation. Rain, snow, and other forms of precipitation absorb and scatter microwave signals, reducing their effective range. This effect becomes more pronounced as frequency increases and is especially significant above 10 GHz. What is a likely cause of irregular fading of signals propagated by the ionosphere? C. Random combining of signals arriving via different paths. Ionospheric signals can travel multiple paths between transmitter and receiver. These paths change constantly and as the ionosphere shifts, causing the signals to randomly combine in constructive and destructive patterns, resulting in irregular fading. Which of the following results from the fact that signals propagated by the ionosphere are elliptically polarized? B. Either vertically or horizontally polarized antennas may be used for transmission or reception. As signals pass through the ionosphere, the Earth's magnetic field causes the polarization to rotate, resulting in elliptical polarization. Because the wave has both vertical and horizontal components, either antenna orientation will receive some signal. What effect does multipath propagation have on data transmissions? B. Error rates are likely to increase. Multipath causes copies of the same signal to arrive at slightly different times. For data transmissions, these delayed copies can interfere with subsequent data bits, causing the receiver to misinterpret the data and increasing error rates. Which region of the atmosphere can refract or bend HF and VHF radio waves? C. The ionosphere. The ionosphere, a region of electrically charged particles roughly 30 to 250 miles above Earth, can refract or bend HF radio waves back to Earth, enabling long-distance communication under certain conditions. It can also bend lower VHF frequency. What is the effect of fog and rain on signals in the 10-meter and 6-meter band? B. There is little effect. At the relatively lower frequencies of 10 meters, 28 megahertz, and 6 meters, 50 megahertz, fog and rain have very little effect on signal propagation. Precipitation primarily affects much higher frequencies, UHF and especially microwave. Some key takeaways from this section. Multipath propagation causes signal variation. Moving an antenna just a few feet can dramatically change signal strength. 2. Vegetation absorbs UHF microwave signals. Precipitation affects microwave frequency. 3. Horizontal polarization is standard for VHF, UHF weak signal, CW, SSB work. 4. Polarization mismatch significantly reduces received signal strength, up to a minus 20 dB loss. The ionosphere refracts HF and sometimes VHF waves, enabling long-distance communication. And number 6, weather effects on radio signals increase with frequency. Rain matters at microwave, but not at HF.